pitfalls you can run into if you are working from home. So it's important to have some of these tips in mind that I'm going to share with you today. With a lot going on, I know a lot of you are working from home for the first time, so I do hope that you find these tips and tricks helpful. So the first one I kind of want to talk about is um, maintaining your routine. So I've been working on from home now for over a year and a half. So I do have some experience here. And if you count all the time that I spent on the weekends and on vacations before that working from home, you'll see that it's been even longer. And one of the things that I found that really helps is maintaining a routine. Now, the easiest way to do this when you first start is just to maintain the routine that you already have. So I would set an alarm to wake up at the same time you used to wake up for when you had to go into the office. Start working at the same time, whether that's 9 o'clock or whatever it is, and then end at the same time, 5 o'clock. This is really important because one of the pitfalls, there's really two ways that people go when they start working from home. On the one hand, I see people, and this usually happens more to employees, they end up working less. They end up getting distracted. They end up not doing as much work as they normally do. And I see on the other side, a lot of like entrepreneurs or business owners end up working a lot more than they used to work. So one way to help combat that is by maintaining a sort of 9 to 5 schedule. If you wake up at 7 o'clock, wake up at 7, get showered, get dressed, eat breakfast if that's what you normally do. If normally you commute, then go outside and take a quick walk around the block. That morning sunshine actually is really helpful to waking you up and getting you into a rhythm and routine. And then sit down at 9 o'clock and begin your work, and then end it at 5 o'clock and kind of separate yourself from that. And that really helps a lot. You can always change it up later, and included in routines is taking weekends off because that's normal for most 9 to 5 jobs. Like I was saying, you can change this up later, but in beginning, this is really, really helpful for people who are just starting to work from home. The second tip that I have for you, tip number 2, is to plan your weeks and plan your days. So when you're in an office, it's very easy to know what to do every day because a lot of us have people who are telling us what to do every single day. When you're working from home or you start working for yourself, that's not always the case. A lot of times you have to decide every day what is a high priority and what is not a priority at all. So that's why I really think it's important to plan it all out. So what I like to do is I like to have a journal, a physical journal, but you can certainly do this online with like a Google Calendar or a to-do list, whatever you find that works for you. I just like this because I can plan out my months, and then from there break it down, plan out my weeks, and from there each week I can break it down and plan each day of the week, and really schedule it out hour by hour what it is that I'm going to do that day, and then just go down. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, I'm doing this. Check, 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 check as I go down the list, and just make sure I'm staying on track. And this helps keep me accountable because at the end of the day, I can look and say, I didn't get that done. And I wrote it down that I was supposed to get it done that day. And I also can be real with myself and say, hey, I did this other thing and it really wasn't that important, but I spent a lot of time on it. So it's a good way to do some self-reflection. But really, the most important thing is planning out your days and sticking to those plans. Use something like a system like this to hold yourself accountable. All right, so that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 I have for you is to find some sort of accountability partner. Like I said, I use my journal to help hold me accountable, but it's also helpful to have a friend or a colleague to help hold you accountable. So if you're transitioning to working from home from an office because you're an employee, maybe connect with one of the other employees that you're friends with and start talking to them through instant messaging, like Skype or Slack or whatever you use in your office, and just check in with each other. Make sure you're both doing the work you're supposed to be doing. This might be easy for some people because they still have to report to like a manager or supervisor. But if you don't have that, if you start working for yourself, for instance, then it does help to have someone to hold you accountable, like in a mastermind. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes with one of my other tips. A few of these tips are going to overlap a little bit, as you'll see. Now, the third tip that I have for you is to take breaks during the day. It's easy, very, very easy to feel like you can't take breaks and to just keep going and going. It's very easy to get burnt out when you start working for yourself or at home. Get up once an hour or once every hour and a half, stretch, walk around the room. You're working from home, so enjoy the benefits of that. You can go into your own kitchen and make yourself a meal in the middle of the day. So yeah, take breaks. It's really, really important for your mental health. Normally when we're in an office environment, there are opportunities for breaks that naturally occur. Somebody will come up to you and ask a question. Yes, those are distractions, but they're also breaks to kind of give your brain a chance to rest as well. So give yourself that chance. Get up, stretch, walk around. Those things are really, really important. So the next three tips I have for you are tips if you have kids and you're trying to work from home. Now, for most, I don't have kids, but as of right now, we are with some family members. We've been there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they have two little kids. So we've been helping them with the kids, and it's been different for us. We're not used to seeing kids around the house and having to work with kids in the house. So I now am starting to understand how difficult that can be. So I do have some other tips for you if you're trying to work from home and there are kids at home, or maybe even if there are a lot of distractions for whatever reason. So the first thing I have for you, first tip is to take shifts. So hopefully you're not the only caretaker in the house, and maybe there's another parent in the house or older siblings that can help out as well. You should all take turns taking care of the kids. That's what we're trying to do. What we're doing, I'm trying to help out the parents that we're staying with. That helps a lot. So it's not all in one person, and you can take turns doing the work and take turns taking care of the kids. So that's really important that you all chip in to kind of do that. The next tip I have for you, if you have kids at home, is get headphones. Pretty obvious one, but it really makes a big difference. They don't have to be noise canceling, but noise canceling works better. These ones aren't, but headphones really will save you in so many different environments. Like when I'm working in coffee shops or McDonald's, because they have really good Wi-Fi. I work there a lot of times, or libraries. It's always great to have headphones, kind of tune out the distractions around you, tune out the kids for a little bit, and just focus in on what you're doing. Listen to music that you like, or you can go on YouTube. This is what I like to do. There's like this background music that you can listen to, like lo-fi beats or different things like that, or just gentle background music that kind of drowns things out, which allows me to focus. Find the music or the sounds that work best for you. I've just found for myself anything with words to it, I just find it too distracting. So I prefer more like background music. The next tip, if you have kids at home, is to either wake up earlier or stay up later. And now I know before I said that you should maintain your normal routine, but if you have kids at home, if it's not possible for you to work during the day, then you have to adapt. And one way that a lot of people do that when they work from home is to wake up earlier or to stay up later. Earlier in the morning is a really good time to get a lot of work done because most people don't wake up early, so they're sleeping in late, which means that you normally get the whole morning to yourself. It's a really great time to get a lot done. But it really depends on your circumstances and the situation for you. You have to be adaptable, obviously, when you're trying to work from home, and that's really another key skill that you need. So like when I started working from home, I was living in New York City, and I would wake up at a normal time. I was maintaining my routine. Now before that, when I was working a 9 to 5 job while running my side businesses, I was waking up early, getting work done in the morning, getting work done during my lunch breaks, and getting work done till late at night. And then I just kind of cut back on that a little bit once I quit my job. So I just did like a regular 9 to 5 schedule. Then when we moved into this camper van, I couldn't wake up earlier anymore because it's a small space. If I woke up, I would wake my husband up early, and he just doesn't want to get up that early, which is you know totally within his right to do that. So kind of have to work with the situation that you have and adapt to it. Which brings me to my next tip for you is to be patient. It can be really hard to adjust to working from home, especially if you have kids, especially if you've never done it before. Give yourself time to adapt. It's okay if you started working from home, you had all these ambitions, you're like, yes, I'm going to maintain a 9 to 5 schedule, I'm going to work out every day, I'm going to cook myself nice meals 3 times a day, and then you find yourself just barely able to maintain your work schedule. That is totally normal at first. Um, Give yourself time to adapt to the schedule. You can always try to add in these nice things later that are some of the benefits from working from home, like working out, things like that, or adjusting your schedule to fit your needs more. All that can come later. Just be patient with yourself because it does take time to adjust to working from home or working for yourself. The last tip that I have for you is to find some sort of community. And I can't stress this enough. This was a big mistake that I kind of made. I see so many entrepreneurs and people starting to work from home making this mistake because it's so easy to overlook. Oh no, I forgot one actually. Uh, let's come back to that one. The one that I forgot is to find a space. Find a dedicated space that is just for you to do your work. So ideally out of the way, that's quieter with no distractions, and that space is only for work. So you know that when you sit down, it's time to do work, and you know when you're not in that space, you are not supposed to do work either. Because, like I said, it's very easy to have your work day just consume your whole life because there's not that physical separation. You know, when you go to a job, it's kind of like in your mind, you think, okay, I've left my job, so I'm leaving my work behind. When you work from home, that physical separation doesn't exist. So we can kind of make it by forming a space, a dedicated space just for doing your work, if that's possible. If that's not possible, like it's not for me in this van, I use some sort of other triggers. I've used those before. Like I knew that every time I put on my headphones, that was a sign that now is time to do work. Or I knew that if I went to a coffee shop or a McDonald's to do work, that was time to do work. And then when I left, it was time to put away the work, things like that. Okay, back to the last one that I hinted at before. It's to find community. And again, this is really important because so many people overlook it. It's easy to think about the other ones like finding a good space or taking breaks or having your days planned out or maintaining a routine. A lot of people forget about this. We are social creatures. We, by nature, like to socialize. We like to talk to people. We even like to gossip a little bit. And that's something we get at work. We get that day after day, that exposure to that. And you lose that once you leave working at a normal 9 to 5, whether that's because you've gone remote or you're an entrepreneur. So you have to find a way to replace that. Now, obviously, you might see your friends on Friday nights or during the weekends, but just keep in mind, up until now, you've been seeing people every single day, and I'm sure you've talked to your coworkers. I'm sure you've interacted with them, and you might find yourself missing that without even realizing it. So find a community that you can talk with every single day without it obviously being too distracting. That's why I'm right now during this time period trying to go live every single day during the work week so we can kind of use this as a chance for us all to socialize and talk to each other and kind of use this as a replacement for that community. But yeah, these breaks happen to interact with coworkers, so you got to find a way to replace that with something like a mastermind, like I mentioned before, is a good way to do that as well. So that's what I have for you guys. My tips for working from home or transitioning to working from home. This is being recorded live. So if you guys watched up until this point, that was all the content I have for you. So if you want to see me now answer any questions that people have in the live chat, I'll be doing that now. So we have Iron. Well, first we have Hussam here saying first. We have Iron Ryan. What's up, man? Thanks for all your help. And I know you sent me some information about that credit card, so thank you. Keith, how's it going? What's up, Dustin? What is up, Johnny? Saying, hey, Titans. Let's see. What's up, Arthur? Arthur, sorry. I'm talking about routine. How many items would you recommend to list daily? That really depends on your listing limits and what store subscription that you have. So you know how many free listings you have and how many listings you currently have. So right now, eBay has given us a whole bunch of free listings. So I would be trying to do as many as you can every day. But the more important thing is to have quality listings. You could put up 50 listings a day, but if they're all terrible, I'd rather you put up one quality listing that's well researched. So, doing product research, when you first start, you might only find a few items every hour, or even less than that, and that's okay. With time, you will speed it up. My VAs, I like them to find at least one quality item every 10 minutes and get that listed up. So that's what I'm aiming for. What's up, Captain? Captain, um, proper planning prevents poor performance. I love that. Do you work in your van? Well, I live in my van, so I do work out of here. I run my eBay stores, Amazon stores, this YouTube channel. Everything happens inside this van. I just knock the kid out. They usually sleep like an hour after that. Kidding. Yeah, it's definitely other tips to distracting kids. Computers, iPads, TVs, all those things obviously are great distractions for kids. Where are you parking your van at? We are, well, with everything happening, we are at a family member's house, parked in their driveway, plugged in, um, and sleeping in the van, but hanging out mostly in the house with the family and helping out with the kids. Um, what is the best way to advertise your product? So I don't teach or talk much about Shopify dropshipping. I mostly talk about dropshipping on eBay and Amazon. Now, with Shopify, you would pay for advertising for your products, get them on Facebook ads or Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, or pay influencers. But with eBay and Amazon, we don't really do that. You can pay for advertising on eBay and Amazon. Um, with eBay, they have promoted listings that we do run a little bit, but for the most part, we really don't pay for advertising besides just the promoted listings. Okay, so Johnny says research is so important in the beginning. I'm cleaning up from not the best items in the beginning. Yeah, and Johnny, that's obviously that's very very normal. Your first you when you after a few months of experience, you're going to go back, look at some of those old items that you listed, and realize that they weren't good items to list, and that's totally fine when you're starting out. It does take time to learn the process, to understand it, and to really get good at it. So don't stress out about it too much. Don't overthink it. Just try the process. If you're one of my students, I know you are, Johnny. In the course, I have the three-step formula for finding the best winning products to sell. Go through that formula. You'll get better at it as time goes on. You'll gain more experience with it. And it's okay if some of those products you're listing up in the beginning don't turn out to be winners. Um, what's up, Lazy Abram? How's it going, man? Thanks for coming back again. Cool. I did check every day. I've been pretty diligent about, or very diligent about checking all the news that's happening and how it could impact us as online sellers. Um, researching about the different retail websites and how well they're doing, how everything's going with shipping from the different websites, all news about eBay and Amazon and different carriers as well. Every day there's been some new development. Today there hasn't, it's surprisingly quiet. There isn't really any updates for me to give you guys today. So, which is kind of a good thing. We're just kind of just moving along as normal or as normal as things can be right now. So I don't really have anything new. Let me see if there's any more comments here. Jeff says, "Hey Paul, much love and take care." For everyone asking if drop shipping is still viable, yes, it is. Hey Jeff, I just realized who you were. How you doing, man? Do you think a humidifier is a good product to sell on eBay? Yeah. Is now a good time to start dropshipping as a newbie? Yeah, I think it's a really excellent time. We're seeing online sales booming right now. So a lot of my students are seeing their sales just go up and up. And so this is an excellent time to get in and start learning and getting a piece of that for yourself. Oh, that's interesting, says Ryan. It's funny, the more I list, the more products I sell, but it's not the new products that are selling, it's the older stuff. So that's pretty interesting. All right, guys. Okay. So that's really all I have today. Like I said, nothing new happening in the world of eBay and Amazon. I'll continue to update you guys every single day. Things are changing fast. That's why I'm trying to go live every day. It's another one of the reasons, just to kind of keep everyone updated as things change. So tune in tomorrow. Maybe there'll be new news tomorrow. I also have some cool things I want to talk about then as well about sales tax. So we could talk about that tomorrow. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out today. I know it's a little bit shorter one, but not much to report on. I hope you guys stay safe and I hope your sales go well. If you guys don't want to miss the next live stream, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification so you get alerted when I go live. And if you're feeling particularly generous, make sure to hit that like button down below. I would really appreciate it. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.